Hey, Keeble Cubs, Mrs. Hoffer here to start you off with this week's first math lesson. Friends, the goals of today's lesson are that you will know that we trade coins or money in the form of coins for goods and services. You'll understand that a penny is equal to 1 single cent of a dollar, and you'll be able to recognize key features of a penny. Let's get started. Friends, like we just heard in today's learning goal, we're going to be learning today all about the US penny. Like we see here on our page, there are many different pictures of pennies right in front of us. Friends, pennies are money in the form of a coin. So a coin is a circular object, this rounded object that is made of a certain type of metal. And a penny, friend, is made up of a metal called copper. So that is why we see here that it is copper in color. And copper, friends, like we see here, is a color that's kind of brownish, and it has this shiny metal tint to it, which makes it go from that brownish color to that beautiful metallic copper. As you can see, though, friends, not all of the pennies we see on the screen are shiny, beautiful copper. Some of them actually look pretty old and dirty and only look brown. They don't have that metallic finish. Well, friends, we have coins and money that have been made every year since the very first year that we started producing money in our country. So we find coins that are older tend to look dirtier or have this more brownish color, like the ones I'm circling here. And that's usually because they're older coins. When they get traded more, which is what we're going to learn upcoming in our lesson, when they get traded, which is what we do with money for goods and services, they have wear and tear and they get dirty and they tend to lose their sparkly shine. When you see the more shiny coins, like this beautiful, really shiny copper penny, that's most likely because it's a coin that has been produced or created in a more recent year. So it's been used less and it still has its shiny color. Friends, the penny is equal to 1 single cent of a dollar. You'll learn more about what dollars are when you get older in school and math begins to get a little bit more difficult. But for now, all we need to know is that coins such as pennies we are learning about this week are less than a dollar. So they're made up of things called cents. So we see coins have things like this cent sign here instead of what we usually see is a money sign, which we would see for something that is more than a dollar. The cent sign next to the number indicates, so it tells us how much money this coin has. So there are really special features of a real life penny that we're about to learn about, Keeble Cubs. But we also need to be able to recognize a penny in cartoon or animated form like we see here. And we can see one that it has a brownish tint in color, which lets us know it's a penny because most other coins are silver or grayish in color. Also, the most important fact and feature that lets us know that this animation of a coin is a penny, Keeble Cubs, is because it says 1 next to the cent sign. And we know that this means that this round coin is equal to 1 cent. Well, because we know each penny is equal to 1 cent, we are able to figure out that this cartoon coin would be representative of a penny. And it's like we just heard on the last page, there are many important features on coins and specifically pennies that we're learning about right now that tell us that it is a penny. So we can look for certain characteristics and features on a coin, and we are able to, because of these specific features, figure out that if it is not a penny. So, for example, we have already learned that a penny is copper in color, and like we can see the penny above, this is a copper colored penny. Um, Also, it is small in size. So when you learn about coins going future in the week on lessons later on in the week, Hebel Cubs, we'll compare it in size to other coins. Pennies, friends, are one of the smallest coins in size. So they're small, round in size, and they are copper in color. Friends, here though, we see two different sides of the penny. There are two different faces, what we call it, of a penny. The heads up or the front side of the penny, which we see here on the left of our screen, and the tail or the back side of the penny, which is right here that I'm pointing to. Every coin, Keeble Cubs, has a heads up, so a front side, and a tails up side, so the back side of a coin. And on the heads up side, Keeble Cubs, we always see a past US president. So the penny, Keeble Cubs, on the heads up side that we see right here, has a face of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States of America. So when we see a copper coin that is small in size and has Abraham Lincoln on the heads up side, we know it's a penny. Keeble Cubs, right here next to Abraham Lincoln on the heads up side to the bottom right, we see the date that the penny was created. So when we're looking at the different colors, if it's shiny or if it looks more dirty, we can go and look at the date to see what year it was produced by a place called the US Mint. You'll learn about that in future grades, friends, but the Mint for now, just know, is the place that is responsible for creating all the money that we use. So we know it says 2013 here. So that means that this penny was made in the year 2013. So that is what's on the heads up side of a penny, Abraham Lincoln and the date it was created. Also, importantly, on the tails up side, so the back side of the penny, we see right here, it says on the bottom 1 cent. So we know it is 1 singular cent of a dollar. And above that, it's an important historical monument. So a U.S. site that is important to the country. This one is actually related to the president on the front of the penny. This backside, the tail side, features something called the Lincoln Memorial, which is a special site in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., that is dedicated to Abraham Lincoln, the previous president of the United States. Friends, the reason why this lesson is so important to learn all about the basics of pennies and coins as we go on this week is because we need to understand our need as human beings, so peoples, for the use of coins and money for both survival and enjoyment or entertainment. We use money, Keeble Cubs, specifically like pennies that we're learning about in today's lesson, to trade or exchange for things that are goods or services. Keeble Cubs, goods are things that we can trade in that are physical items that we can touch and feel and keep in our physical possession. Like food, for example, that we see in the picture on our screen is being traded for money. So physical items that we can have in our hands, food, clothing, all of the things that you can touch. We also exchange it for things like services. And services, Keeble Cubs, are things we need or want that we can't physically touch. So things like this could be money that is paid towards medicine, so keeping hospitals running, paid towards education, so the money that goes to make sure that our schools are running and we have all our supplies, many different services that we can pay for. So, as you can see in this picture, like we just mentioned, this bill, so this piece of money is being exchanged or traded for goods. And in this case, the goods are food. As people, we need money to trade in for things that we need for human survival, like food and shelter. So, we trade in money for food to keep our bellies full and for a roof over our head. Services that examples are that we trade or exchange money for are things we need, like I said, like keeping hospitals running or schools going. Adults, Keeble Cubs pay money to things called taxes, which keep city and country institutions and organizations, these really important things going that keep our cities safe and clean. So we pay so we can have trash removal trucks and police officers and firefighters, things that keep our cities going safe and clean. But there are also things that we don't need Keeble Cubs that we trade our money for. There are goods that we don't need that we still like to trade money for when we have the opportunity to, such as video games or special treats at the grocery store. We don't need chocolate bars, but sometimes we like them as a treat. Services, there are many examples of things we don't need, but we as humans do for entertainment, like Netflix, for example, or any type of video streaming service that we might see on our TV. These friends are things that we pay for so we can have the entertainment of watching our favorite TV and movie shows. While we don't need these things to survive, we as people trade in our money for them so we can have entertainment and be happy. Like we just went over on the last page, friends, we trade in or exchange our money for goods or services that we need or want. For example, we see here 9 pennies on the screen. So we know that is equal to 9 cents in all. If this water bottle that I wanted was equal to 9 cents, then I would exchange or trade in at a store or a vending machine, wherever I was buying the water bottle, my 9 pennies. And after I gave in those 9 pennies, I would trade in for the water bottle to quench my thirst. Finish off today's lesson on pennies, Keeble Cubs. We should already know basic features of a penny, such as that they are small and round, they are copper in color, and they are equal to 1 cent. To make sure we know all these important features, we're going to finish off by looking at some real life pennies that Mrs. Hoffer has in her house. Let's get started. All right, friends, here is our first example of a penny. So, like we learned in our lesson, it is, as we can see, it is circular. The coin, all coins are circular in shape. It is small in size. So, for example, if I were to compare the size to, let's say, a Unifix cube from my pickup pack, you can see that it's much smaller than the Unifix cube, which in on itself is a small object. So we can see that it is a very small round coin. Another important feature we learned about a penny is that it is what in color, Keeble Cubs? Remind me, what's the color of a penny? That's right, friends. It is copper in color. Here, Keeble Cubs, we see a real life picture of the heads up of the penny. Keeble Cubs, can you remind me, do you know what president is on the heads up, the front side of the penny? Good job, friends. The president on the heads up, the face side of the penny is Abraham Lincoln. So we know when we see this picture of President Lincoln on a copper small coin that we are looking at a penny. Friends, like we learned in the lesson to the bottom right side, right there, we see the date. So let me just move in and then you can see. So we can see the date that it was created by the U.S. Mint, the place responsible for producing all of the money we use. So if I flip it around, we can see the tails upside of the penny. So the back side of a penny. Let's flip it around, that's upside down. At the top, it says the United States of America. We see the Lincoln Memorial, which is the special memorial in Washington, D.C. to President Lincoln, who's on the front side. On the bottom, it says 1 cent. So we know that this coin equals 1 cent of a dollar. And this is an example of a kind of old penny. Well, let's look at another one, friends. Let's see. This one kind of looks a little bit more shiny to me. There's a little bit less rust. While it is a bit dirty, you can see it's a little bit more shiny. And I know it was made sooner than this one because it says 2012. So this one was made in 2003 and this one was made in 2012, Keeble Cub, so 9 years ago. We still see that it is President Abraham Lincoln on the front. However, there is a different emblem on the back. So Keeble Cubs, with coins on the tail side, it is not always the same thing. So while you're often going to see the Lincoln Memorial that you see on this side of this penny that we learned about earlier, there's sometimes going to be other things than the Lincoln Memorial on the tail side, the back side. And these are just important symbols, places, or things to the United States. So things of importance to the United States, something that is symbolic of in our country, Keeble Cubs. All right, Keeble Cubs, that's all the time we have for today. Keep up the fantastic work. I'll see you tomorrow.